Hello everyone, welcome to the When at Work podcast. You're with your host Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by Tim Woodbridge, Dean Cooper and Annie Rich. Welcome to the show, guests.
Thank you for having us.
Everyone is just super pumped and excited today, which is always good.
Yay!
We're going to play Jeopardy. Let's load up the board and then we're going to meet our fantastic guests.
Julian, I've lost the audio. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? That's bad news. We are live. Let's see if it comes back. So let's have a look. You can hear now or not? Can't hear me? Everyone else can hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
All right. Well,
I hear him.
if you do ever hear me, Dean, what I would suggest you is back out and then come back in. I'm going to have to continue on. The categories today are US cities, file under A. I think these are A words. France, sickness and health, signs and symbols, international airlines. Tim, you can kick things off. Let me know if you hear me, Dean.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm a retired nurse, so I'm going to say let's do sickness and health for 100.
Julian, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I can't. I have no audio. I can't hear anyone.
Well, I'm going to have to mute you. I'm sorry, Dean. All right, Tim, you're a retired nurse. I heard that. Category, what would you like?
Sickness and health for 100.
Sickness and health for 100. German physicist and Nobel Prize winner Robert Koch found that these rodents conveyed the Black Plague.
Over my head.
Well, the Black Plague was kind of about, maybe it was the late 1800s.
How do I click in?
You just holler.
I know.
The answer.
I know this now.
You know it?
What are rats?
Rats is correct.
Oh
well
my gosh,
done,
I got
Tim. You're still in control. Coach Cooper, let me know if you can hear me by nodding your head. All right, we can't. What would you like next, Tim?
Let's do sickness and health for 200.
Sickness and health for 200. The reason surgical instruments are autoclaved. Yes.
Jeopardy. What is to kill all bacteria and viruses? To sterilize things.
Sterilize is correct. Well done, Tim. The nurse, former nurse, still a nurse. You never stop being a nurse. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you like next?
I feel like I'm taking over this. Let's do something. File under A for 100.
File under A for 100. If you know the answer, Annie, holler out. A diplomatic official or the kind of briefcase he might carry. You might say,
No idea.
he is the something to the head of the, or he is the something to the Canadian diplomat.
What is ambassador? I think.
That's a good answer, but it's not something you can carry. What we're looking for is attaché. Have we heard of that one?
Yeah.
All right, Tim. We'll do one more, then we'll give Annie a turn. What would you like,
Yay.
Tim?
U.S. cities for 500.
U.S. cities 500. This Southern Cities Herald prints a separate newspaper in Spanish.
Oh, jeez. I don't know that one.
Southern Cities Herald. So it'll be something like the Kentucky Herald. Is Kentucky a city or a state?
It's a state.
Okay. Well, that's no good. Louisiana. No, that's new.
Let's see. Baton Rouge. How about that?
There we go. Baton Rouge Herald. Let's give it a turn. It was the Miami. I don't consider Miami to be in the South for some reason, but it is, isn't it?
It's because it's Florida. It's more south than I think anything else,
But you don't have people playing banjos and making moonshine, so that's kind of what I think of.
No, a different kind of south in Miami.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? All right, Annie, you can have a turn and pick a question. Hey, whereabouts are you based, Annie? You sound like you're from Europe.
I am from Georgia country.
Oh, Georgia, the country. Okay, excellent.
Georgia, the country.
Yes, yeah, not Georgia in the United States. I'm with you.
Not Georgia in the United States.
They're very big on Olympic wrestling. That's about all I know about Georgia.
Yeah. I also do jiu-jitsu, so I'm very into martial arts.
Oh, wow.
I love watching MMA fights.
Oh, you love all the MMA?
That's what I do in my...
They've got, who's
my
the
God,
Georgian
I love
guy in the UFC?
Ilya Topuria.
That's the one,
Merab
Topuria. He's
Dvalishvili.
very good. Okay, excellent. Well, what would you like, Annie?
Amazing. Well, none of it rings a bell for me, but let's do signs and symbol. I have no idea what it could be. 100.
Signs and symbols. Signs and symbols. Batman's partner Robin has this symbol on his shirt.
Oh my God.
No, he
Wait.
does not have oh my God.
I should know this, actually. This is a question I should know. Batman's partner, Robin.
He has a big
Has a
letter
symbol.
on his chest. What could it be?
R?
R is correct. Well done, Annie Rich. You're on the board. Well done. What would you like?
Let's do US cities 300.
US cities 300. This Georgia city is the site of the Masters Golf Tournament. Not your Georgia.
I know. It's the site of Masters Golf Tournament. Atlanta?
Hello. Oh, it's Augusta. You was an A word. Yeah, Augusta is the one. Did you know that one, Tim?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No.
I did. Okay.
It's like,
I thought it was Atlanta as well.
2 hours from where I live. It's not that far. I'm looking at
you're not that far
a
away.
mobile home park there right now. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I know it.
Well, Annie, you're still in control because Tim was very polite and didn't jump in with the correct answer. What would you like, Annie?
Let's do France 100. I don't know why, but let's do it.
France 100. In 1966, France withdrew from the military wing of this organization.
Oh my God, this is something my son would definitely know.
I did
France
history in high school, but I
withdrew.
fell asleep for most of it. France
I hated
withdrew from the
history.
military
Withdrew
wing.
from the...
So what are the
Like,
organizations that France as a nation can be in? You've got things like the United Nations. They had the League of Nations. They had NATO. They had... That's about all I can think of. It's one of those, I'm sure.
Withdrew from the military wing of this organization. Okay, I think someone else would definitely know
Do you have any idea, Tim?
answer on this question. I think he knows.
I think it's NATO, but I don't know for sure.
Let's take a look. It is NATO.
Oh my God, I should have said that. I thought about that.
Well, Tim, you're on 400. Annie's on 100. Tim, what would you like?
Oh, signs and symbols for 300.
Signs and symbols for 300. From the Latin for key comes this symbol on the musical staff.
What is clef?
Clef is correct. Well done. Have you done a bit of music in your day, Tim?
I've got a guitar and a bass up on my wall right
Well,
there.
there you
So
go.
I'm
And can you read
reading
music?
A little bit.
A little bit. Wow, that's excellent. And do you mostly just kind of read tab, or how do you learn songs?
So on guitar and bass, yes, tab.
Tab, yeah.
Or chords, and on piano, it's more reading music.
Okay, last question, unrelated to the game. What's your favorite band?
Ever?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's hard. I mean, Radiohead recently.
Excellent.
I like it. It
Radiohead's
changed
great
me a
band.
lot.
Love Radiohead. Okay, computer.
Yeah.
What was the Android one? Paranoid Android. I love those early
Paranoid
ones.
Android. Yeah.
Anyway, what would you like?
Let's go France for 500. I don't know much about France. So.
France for 500, going big. The cathedral in this town, for 50 miles southwest of Paris, is considered the finest example of Gothic architecture.
Is it the same one that burned down recently for a
Probably.
little bit?
Yeah. What's that one called?
Yeah.
It's it's the something.
Yeah. And there's a movie about it, a cartoon about it. I can't think right now.
Any
I don't know.
idea, our European guest?
It should be Saint something Cathedral.
Yes, well, Saint something. I'm thinking it's like, what's the Bastille? What, is that a cathedral? Who knows? Let's take a look. It was called Chartres.
Okay. I wouldn't have had any clue. I'm way off.
Yeah, I agree.
Never mind. What would you like next, Tim?
International Airlines 300.
International Airlines 300. It's the aptly named state-owned airline of Greece. It's not the big one. It's the kind of they do a lot of flying around Europe. What's Greece famous for? Like most famous for? What did they invent that we still do today? Every 4 years.
Oh, gee. The Olympics? Is it Olympic something?
And what would an airline be called after Olympic?
Olympic Airlines. Or Olympic
Olympic is correct. Well done, Tim. How did you know that? Well done. Great effort.
What? Wow. I'm very well read. That's
yes, you are. Incredible. All right. What would you like next?
File under A for 400.
File under A for 400. This adjective meaning shocked or terrified may derive from the word ghost. Shocked or terrified. Frightened.
And it starts on A?
Yes, starts with an A. Yes, correct.
Oh, I might know it, actually.
Let's hear it. You won't get penalized.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. It might be silly, but is it the word aghast? A-G-A-S-T.
Incredible answer. Annie, you got it. Well done. Aghast. You're doing much better than you thought you would. You are on 500 points. What would you like?
Let's do International Airplanes 100.
International Airlines 100. Its name,
airlines.
Its name is an acronym for Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Service. It's an airline, and the people on it sound like me.
I cannot see properly because of the quality, but can you read it again for me?
It's an acronym for Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Service.
And it's an airlines.
It is, yes. I'll give you a clue. It's an Australian airline.
Oh, it's in Australia. Yeah, Queensland.
Tim?
Yeah, he should know.
No, not at all.
You do not
Never
know
been
the
to Australia.
Australian International Airline.
I know. That's at least that should be some kind of penalty on this show.
It should be. I might bring it back. The answer is Qantas.
Qantas?
Oh, did you just get it?
Oh my gosh.
Annie, you had it, but you did it a second after I closed the question, but you would have got it if you had hollowed that one out.
I should be more bold,
I think
and
you should.
say whatever I think.
We don't shame you for getting it wrong, and you don't lose any points, so you got nothing to lose. Annie, I'll let you pick a question though. What would you like?
Let's do signs and symbols 400.
Signs and symbols for 400. In other words, these symbols are cudgels, shovels, pumping organs, goodness, and girls' best friends. In other words, these symbols are cudgels, shovels, pumping organs, and girls' best friends. I think I know what this is.
I don't even understand the question. In other words, these symbols are
I got
cudgels.
Let's hear it.
Please. Yeah, please. We want to hear that.
You might have a full house with these symbols.
Oh, they're cards.
Cards. So you've got the cudgel, which is something for hitting. A shovel is a spade. A pumping organ is a heart. Girl's best friend is diamond.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. Tim, what would you like?
Oh my gosh, that was a weird one.
Was.
Let's do signs and symbols for 500. Let's keep going down this weird rabbit hole.
And it gets harder as well, the bigger points. Grinding tool and receptacle commonly seen on signs indicating a drugstore.
What is mortar and pestle?
Mortar and pestle is correct.
Okay.
What do they have on the pharmacies in Georgia, Annie?
This like the
symbol
sign on pharmacy.
Maybe
Symbol?
a cross.
It's a cross.
Cross, gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, we have a cross.
Okay, Tim, what would you like?
France for 400.
France for 400. Theatre that's known as the Maison de Molière. Sorry about that, any French people. After the great comic playwright. Maison de Molière. It's a theatre, famous French theatre. I don't even know any French theatres, let alone the famous ones. Do you, Annie?
I have no idea,
French.
but maybe the
Hang on a
second
minute.
word will be the answer.
I got one. I got a theatre. I think it's a theatre. That one that had that movie with Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor. Is that a
Oh,
theatre?
Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's take a look. Nah, it's wrong. It was La Comédie Française. Sounds like a French comedy place. All right. Annie, do you want to pick one?
Sure. Let's do U.S. cities 100.
U.S. cities 100. This city's tidal basin is ringed by some 3,000 Yoshino cherry trees donated by the mayor of Tokyo in 1912. But it's a U.S. city with Japanese cherry trees. Tim, do you have any idea?
I do. I know this one. Annie, do you have any idea?
Wait, give me a second. It's a U.S. city that has a lot of cherry trees.
Donated by Japan in 1912.
Somewhere in California?
No.
Tim?
Florida? Okay, same.
So it's funny, I was just in Japan for 3 weeks seeing cherry blossoms, but I have also seen the cherry blossoms here in Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. is correct. Well done,
Really
Tim.
cool. It's really cool.
Incredible. I am going to Japan next year and I can't wait. I'm going to eat so much food.
Bro, I must have gained like 5 or 10 pounds.
Yeah,
It was so good.
Yeah. Yeah. They are so committed to excellence over there. That's what I love about it. Tim, what would you like?
U.S. cities for 200.
U.S. cities for 200. The final battle of the War of 1812 was fought in 1815 in and around this U.S. city. It's got to be the Civil War, right? Is that the one with the...
No,
it's
it's
not.
before the Civil War.
So it was against the Brits, was it?
Dude, it's
Who knows?
100% not my strength. Do you have any guess? Because I have one guess.
I have no guesses. Annie, do you have any idea what city this war was in the United States?
No.
No, me either. Tim, give us your guess.
Okay, big guess. I'm going to say San Antonio.
It was the Big Easy, New Orleans.
Okay.
Incredible. Did not know that. Must have been against the French, I would guess. Yeah, there were a few
Maybe.
Frenchies around there at some stage. Don't know what they were doing. Tim, what would you like?
Still a big influence in New Orleans.
Yeah, there still is. And there's even people that speak French, I believe, in New Orleans, which I did not know.
Yeah.
What would you like, Tim?
Let's finish up the U.S. cities.
U.S. cities for 400. In 1805, Zebulon Pike bought land from the Sioux. That's now this Minnesota capital. Of Minnesota. Now, Minnesota is one of those states that all I think about is snow and I don't know anybody from there. Isn't that where the...
Should I say it?
Oh, Annie, if you know it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Wait. It's either St. Paul or Minneapolis.
Oh.
So the land from... And it's a capital of Minnesota.
Yes. And no Googling on your phone.
No, I don't even have my phone. It's downstairs. My intuition says Minnesota. My memory says St. Paul. Minneapolis. Let's do Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. It was St. Paul. Was that the other one you said?
I should have
oh
trusted.
My goodness.
Yeah, I
you're
should have.
you're killing it.
I should
That
have
was
trusted
the
my
first thing
memory.
you said, and then you talked yourself out of it. Annie?
Actually, my son was born in Minnesota, in Minneapolis.
Wow. I did not know that.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know you had a son, for starters.
Yeah, he's almost 8.
He's almost 8. Excellent. And is he back in Georgia now?
Right now, he's in U.S. with his dad.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So he's a little American. Does he have an American accent or a Georgian?
He has all accents. He went there a few days ago. He will be there for a month. He lives with me though.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I lived in U.S. for like 6 years.
What language do you speak?
In
Do you speak
different-
Russian in Georgia, or do you speak Georgian?
I speak English, Georgian, Russian fluently, and I know a little bit of Turkish.
Oh, excellent.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I know English and Australian, that's all.
Oh.
English
I
and
had-
wrong English.
Australian is just like degraded English. Tim, what would you like?
Funny. Let's do file under A for 300.
File under A for 300. The adjective most often used to describe James Randi. Rest in peace. Does anyone know who James Randi is?
I have
I do
no
not.
idea.
Well, he
No.
was this old science guy, and what he would do was, back in the sort of 80s, there was a lot of kind of psychics like Uri Geller, and they were going on TV shows, and they were showing everybody their psychic powers. And then all of a sudden, James Randi would come out, and he would do exactly what they were doing, and he would expose how they were doing it. And he what you would call him starts with an S. Not scientist. Somebody who doesn't necessarily
Skeptical.
believe in psychic powers. Tim's
Yeah,
lighting up.
skeptic.
Skeptic.
But
Hello.
I don't know the A adjective. I can't think of.
Oh, A. It's an A word.
Oh,
gee,
yeah.
I'm a terrible host. That was his that was his name. You know, the amazing Randy. So he would come on and pretend to be like a magician. But he's a skeptic. I gave you the points, I think, anyway. Tim, what would you like?
France for 300.
France for 300. Francois, Le Monde, and Le Figaro. Le Monde is a Pixies album. Francois, I don't know what that means. Le Figaro, I know they say that in Bohemian Rhapsody. These must be operas.
Yeah, this is it's a Freddie Mercury thing.
Yeah, let's have a look. They're actually newspapers. They probably don't even
Wow.
exist anymore. Everything's online. All right, Annie, what would you like?
Ooh, tough choice. Let's do sickness and health 500. No,
Sickness-
400. 400.
Sickness in health 400. Arteriosclerosis is one cause of this bulging and thinning of the wall of blood vessel or the heart. Arteriosclerosis is one cause of this. So when the blood vessels are bulging and thinning, what do we call that? It's one of the heart
The
diseases.
disease?
Yeah. What did you say?
The heart disease. Okay,
It's
I
one of
thought
the heart.
leukemia, but it's not a heart disease.
So what are we? You got things like.
It's one of the.
I mean, it could just be the thing when it stops. What do we call that? I don't know. Actually, yeah, no.
Heart attack?
Yeah,
No.
that's what I was thinking. All right, let's see if it's heart attack. It's going to be something else. Oh, aneurysm. Okay. Oh, horrible. I hate
Aneurysm.
all of these. Are those things?
I've been out of the game. I've been out of the game. I
don't want to think about
I
it.
was thinking congestive heart failure, but I knew that was wrong.
Well, aneurysm was the one, and I'm glad nobody got it. Tim, what would you like?
Sickness and health for 500. Let's keep
All
going.
right, we'll wrap it up after this one, I think. Sickness and Health 500 in 1799. Sir Humphrey Davy discovered this gas could be used as an anesthetic.
Oh God, what is it? Laughing gas? I forget.
Oh.
Nitrous oxide, right?
Is correct. Well
Hey,
done.
look at that.
Laughing gas, which is used by dentists and teenagers. Great job, everyone. So you've got 2,300. Tim, Annie, you got 500. You got a couple correct, and you didn't think you were going to. So that's a good result. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're going to do now is talk to Tim. First up, Tim, what have you been doing with mobile home parks?
We buy them, we fix them up, we cash flow, we get our investors double their money in 5 years. We sell them. We make nicer communities.
Yeah, man. I saw somebody on YouTube that was doing this. I don't know who it was, but he was buying these things, and he was trying to maybe get out some of the busted up trailers and putting. I think he was putting in kind of more ones that are kind of on the ground rather than on wheels. And now this is very interesting because we've got a bit of a housing crisis in Australia and probably in the States as well. And you start to think, in certain circumstances, would it be that bad of an idea? I could see this as a growth area. What do you think, Tim?
Oh yeah, there's ever increasing demand. Like they're not really making more of them. It's really hard to get permitted for any new ones. So there's a stable, supply, and then there's ever increasing demand. I mean, it makes sense. Everyone talks about affordable housing and the need for it, and we're the ones who do something about it. And y'all should probably do the same. Start opening up those mobile home parks, and it's just an affordable place to live. I mean, there's so many people who are living paycheck to paycheck, and it's not a good way to be.
And how does it work? So, do you have investors that get involved, and they're looking at returns, and how long does it take to what's involved from an investor's point of view, and how much do they have to pony up?
Yeah, so I mean, we are focused on like accredited investors. So sophisticated investors, where we do minimum $50,000, and really it's like we do everything for you. You review the offering, review the documents, make sure it looks good, wire the money in. We do everything else. We send people quarterly distributions. We take care of everything. We do our best to make it as easy as and brainless as possible. So the people who are wiring in money, our investors can continue living their lives, which is whatever they're doing to make a ton of money. Business owners, physicians, whatever. So yeah, our whole goal is to make it really, really simple and easy to understand.
Okay, and so this is interesting. How I'd imagine it would take a bit of time once you're getting this money to then establish a revenue stream from it. So are you kind of like building new structures and then leasing them, or are you selling them?
So everything we're buying, we're making sure that we can start distributions to our investors within 6 months of purchase. So like sometimes we're bringing in new homes, sometimes we're fixing up beat up old homes that no one's living in. There's a lot of strategies to increase the revenue and decrease expenses, but everything is based on the foundation of like, okay, we like our minimum is 2x equity multiple, doubling someone's money over 5 years, and making sure that we're able to pay investors starting 6 months after close. And like everything else, falls into that. So like the main thing we're focused on is taking care of our investors.
Okay, so a lot of the time you're also just buying parks, or we call them like caravan parks down here, but you call them trailer parks, and you're just looking for good ones to buy that are undervalued and profitable, and how long did you say it takes to? I mean, are you even allowed to say that you can double people's money? I don't even think you can say that, can you?
So that's always the strategy, right? Nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah.
So like by all means, if you're looking to invest, like
that's what you're hoping for, you're aiming for.
Yeah. That's what we're projecting, and we've done it enough that we can, reasonably say this is our business plan. This is likely what we're going to be exiting at. This is likely what we're going to be able to pay through distributions. We are very conservative with our underwriting, but nothing's guaranteed. If anyone says that you're going to get this 100%, like run for the hills.
Yeah. Well, you'll get the SEC up your backside as well. So
exactly.
You can't put that in the brochures. But how many of these projects have you done?
So we have 16 mobile home parks right now. We just started raising money for it last year. I've been doing this for 5 years, and just wanted to make sure that we really knew the ins and outs of the industry, the levers we could pull, like get the operations really solid. So we had 9 parks, and then we started raising capital last year. So now we're at 16. Got a few under contract that we're looking to start raise for as well. We've got the experience. We are consistently giving to our investors what we said we would, and it's
so. And you're looking at acquiring these and holding on to them long term, and so you've got rental income, and then you've got appreciation of land as well if you need to sell them out.
Mm-hmm.
And what types of returns annually? I know that's not a promise or anything, but roughly speaking, what could you sort of look at?
So all of our hold timeline, first of all, is like 5 years, with the caveat of like, if it's a great asset, we love it, everyone involved wants to refi, get all their money back in 5 years and continue, that we could do that. It's a conversation at that point. We, do minimum 2x equity multiple. That usually looks like 18 to 20% average annual returns, 18%, give or take, IRR, internal rate of return. We don't project any kind of refi. We make sure that the deal is really good as is. And if anything better happens, then it's a cherry on top.
Interesting. And what types of reporting do you provide investors? Because they're going to want to see some stuff. So what do they get to see when they invest?
Of course, we do monthly reports and then quarterly bigger deep dive reports. If there's anything that we're leaving out that someone wants, every once in a while, it depends on the investor. So we don't send this to everyone because we don't want to flood everyone's inbox. But, we have had people ask for, bank account statements and stuff like that. There's every once in a while someone who's really, really involved in numbers, and like that's their jam. Hey, show me. It's like, okay, here you go. We don't send it to everyone, again, because we don't flood everyone. If someone sent me bank statements on stuff like that, I'd be like, this is too much.
Yeah, so some people are just happy to put the money in and then and get the checks or whatever. So other people are kind of what I call pointy heads, and they want to know everything, and they want to drive you around the wall. But that's just where they are.
Everyone's got different personalities. My personality is like, the less I know, well, like, give me the high level. That's all I want. And some people want all the details, and there's no right or wrong. Whatever way that someone is, we're there to provide service to them.
And when somebody invests in this, are they investing in a single property, or are they kind of investing in the pooled money?
So we do single syndications, and that's usually 1 to 4 properties. And it could be more, but like generally it's like, okay, here are these one assets.
These
It's
are
not
the
like a
ones you're in?
fund where you don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it
So you
seems
know
like
what you're investing in.
it'd be too complicated to disperse everything if everybody's in the same pool. All right, well, that's very interesting. Yeah, I've never really, apart from what I saw on YouTube, but it's an interesting idea. What about as far as it's the rental revenue they're sharing, and they don't. And then they don't get any titles or anything as part of the land. That you keep all because that you're taking the risk with everything. So you own all the properties.
So they own. Okay, so how a syndication works, and at least how we do it. So there's one LLC, one company that owns the property, like the land and the homes, and then there's a manager LLC that controls it. And so the general partners, me and my partners, are the general partner that controls the LLC. Then the limited partners have shares of that first LLC that owns the property. So they have, they have some ownership in the LLC that owns the property, but it's not like. Yeah, it's not like, okay, if you're looking at the deed, the legal deed and whatnot, you wouldn't see like each person's name. You'd see this LLC owns this, and then the operating agreement, which everyone gets, and everything's filed by our syndication attorneys and above board. It's like, okay, you own, I don't know, 5% of this LLC that owns this.
Yeah, gotcha. And just say every time you get a bunch of investors, then you need to go and acquire a property because you're not giving them shares in ones that you've already got necessarily, are you?
We could, but we don't. But no, so we're always making offers, right? So I know that reasonably, if we make sure that the investors' interests are first, that we can reasonably raise. And, so meaning, okay, if I can get reasonably in a conservative underwriting, if we can get 2x equity multiple, if we can double someone's money over 5 years, we can raise the money from people. That is a good deal for people. And then, we don't cut it too thin. We make sure we're getting paid too. So it's usually like, okay, if investors own 70% of this deal and we can double their money over 5 years, that's a deal that we'll, start working on. We'll get under contract, go do due diligence, make sure everything's above board, and we're super thorough. I got some amazing people on my team who are really good at it. And then, just talk to people and engage their interest. Who wants to come into this really cool mobile home park deal?
Yeah. And what if there's a bit of a downturn or something? Maybe the returns are not as expected after 5 years. What happens?
Is an investment. It's an unfortunate thing. We do everything we can to mitigate all these risks, but yeah, it is 100% an investment, and stuff can happen. That's why we've learned from the mistakes of others. There's a lot of multifamily guys and girls who bought when it was there was a voracious buying pattern during COVID in 2021, 22, and people bought at these super low rates and said, okay, I'll just refinance in 2, 3, 5 years, and then rates went way high, and their plan totally went sideways. And so that's why we get fixed rate for 5 years.
Yep.
We make sure
that's
to
good
do
idea.
everything we can.
So over the course of that 5 years that they're investing in it, exactly what you're paying on interest rates. So you're not going to get shocked. And worst case scenario, if you need to flog it at after 5 years, you can, and it seems pretty likely that you're at least going to get your money back of what you've put in. I mean, from the rental revenue. Do they ever get a share of if just say you need to sell the property? Do you ever? I mean, is that going to help paying back some of the investors if things fall short?
Yeah. So, they own part of the property.
Yeah, they do own.
So,
okay. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. So if we have to sell, or if there's ever like a reason that a fire sale has to happen, God forbid, but who knows, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they do own, whatever percentage of that, and they would get whatever percentage of that sale. And, we keep it super simple. So there's no like, well, waterfalls and, this has to be met and blah, blah. It's like, no, they own this much percentage. Let's keep it very straightforward. If you put in $100,000 and we have to sell, and unfortunately your share was only at $85,000, here's what we can give back.
Yeah, I mean, and
God forbid again, but that's
if you're going to invest in something, real estate is probably the best thing anyway. So it's very interesting. And how did you get into this? If you're a former nurse,
I heard Brandon Turner talk to Frank Rolfe on the Bigger Pockets podcast, and I said, that sounds interesting. It sounds really interesting. And I was already reading about real estate and basically how can I get rich? How can I do what so many people have done? And so, just deep diving. And then I heard about it and I took action. It's not like I'm not a rocket science kind of person. Okay, that sounds good. Let's figure out how to do it. And then let's do it.
Do you have a partner?
I have a few partners. Yeah, we have a team.
I was wondering how you would get the money for your first
trailer park. Yeah. Okay. So the first one I'm 50-50 with someone. So I brought the work and the hustle and the knowledge that I was learning at least. And he brought the money. So we were 50-50 on that one. And from the first led to the second and third, and now we're at 16.
Wow, that's amazing, man. That's an incredible story, and it's great that you had an idea and you followed through and executed. Very interesting. So anybody out there, if you want to at least have a chat to Tim, and it's a great you don't want to be in the stock market at the moment. Whenever things go crazy, you want to look at property or other assets like maybe gold and things like that. But have a look at what Tim's doing over there. So generally people are putting in 50, they can put in a bit more, can they?
Yeah, and we if people want to put in substantially more, we make it worth their while. So returns are better for people who are coming in at 200 or more.
You just give them a higher percentage?
Yeah, so we do so like generally, and it's different a little bit for each deal, but say we have a deal, it's a 70-30 split, so 70% to our investors, 30% to the general partners, to us, with a 7% preferred return for someone who's putting in $50,000. If someone's putting in, say $200,000, whatever, we like to make it a little bit sweeter. So we'll give them a little bit more equity. So that'll be more like a 75-25 split on their part. And then we'll do like an 8% preferred return. So, again, we do everything we can and we treat our partners, our investors, like, we put all the efforts in to make sure that they are treated very, very well and getting great returns. That is our goal.
Well, that's interesting. That's called the WC. The website's wcvinvestgroup.com. Is that right?
So our new website, wcginvestments.com.
Okay, wcginvestments.com. The URL will be in the show notes, and you can reach out and have a chat to Tim and learn more about it. We'll put his LinkedIn in there as well. But yeah, it seems like a pretty good opportunity and probably something worth having a chat about. So thank you very much for that, Tim.
Thank you.
Is it Woodbridge?
Mm-hmm.
Tim Woodbridge. Thank you, Tim. All right, let's pop over to Georgia. Annie, you got a podcast called
Hi.
Intuitively Rich. Tell us about that.
Yes. The podcast started in 2020. I was living in Hawaii and I was craving those deep conversations I normally had. So I started a podcast. I thought it was going to be just me, but soon I realized I'm very curious. So I love to learn from people. And then amazing guests found me. And it was so interesting because I never had to ask anyone to be my guest. They just found me and I just attracted them. So then I decided there is something in this.
How
and I
did they
pursued
find
it.
you, Annie?
I use Podmatch, but so many guests found me via email. I have no idea how and where they get my email, but I get a lot of podcast pitch on, is it called a pitch? On email,
Yeah.
which is so interesting.
It's interesting. And was that after you had released several episodes that you started? Because I've noticed this as well. When did they start reaching out to you? After 100 episodes?
After I had like two guests, when the conversation wasn't just me, but after I had like one or two guests, and I was getting a really good feedback. Like it was, they felt very heard, cared. Many of them said this was very different. So I think that when you do something well in life, you attract good people around and people find you. When you bring value, people who need to get value or people who need to give value on the same level find you. So that's just like my idea. But then after like 2-3 guests, I started to get emails and I have no idea where they find me.
Interesting. And what is it all about basically? So what types of things do you talk about on the podcast?
It's self-development. This is something I'm very, very passionate about. When I had a son almost 8 years ago, I realized I need to change. I need to raise myself first, because we think parenting is about the child, but the parenting is about the parent itself. We need to change. We need to let go of the societal baggage and all of that. So that's when I started to dive into self-development. And it has been a long journey. So the podcast is mostly about self-development and intuitive approach to life.
And do you have like courses or something or coaching that you do off the back of this podcast?
I'm currently not doing coaching, but I used to do coaching when I lived in US. It was so easy to talk to people and share that I did coaching and people were interested. But then when I moved back to Georgia, I have not been doing coaching, but I'm open to it. If there is someone who needs to, I'm always open to it. I have been doing it for free without any no format, some groups here, but no like online coaching right now.
And so what do you do during the week? Is it yoga teaching or?
I'm lucky enough to know I don't need to work because where I come from, it's very traditional. Like your parents, your dad will take care of you, no questions asked. So I don't need to work. I'm very fortunate enough. So I do teach yoga. I did teach yoga in US and I did the coaching in US for me for fun. And not only for fun, when I say fun is it brings me joy to have a session with someone. And at the end of it, when you realize you help them, that's not fun, but joyful and brings me joy. So right now, currently, I'm doing my podcast.
Awesome. Well, if you're doing that, then it'll eventually. How many episodes have you done?
155, 54.
Okay, and so do you do it? Do you do a couple a week or something?
Yeah, it depends. I had a period of time where I was doing like every single day posting one. I feel like in everything you go through a phase where you do so much of something to master it, but then it's mostly once a week.
Once a week. Okay, awesome. Well, that's Annie Rich, and the podcast is called Intuitively Rich. You can find it on annierich.com. Is it pronounced Annie or Ani?
It's Annie.
Annie. Annie Rich, ANIRICH.com, and you can check out what Annie's up to and subscribe to her podcast. Thank you very much, Annie Rich.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I'm going to wrap things up. Thanks for listening and watching. See you next time, everyone. Ciao.